Hello, this is John with Brainstorm Comics and Gaming.
And this is Mickey with John at Brainstorm Comics and Gaming.
Mickey is a longtime subscriber. He's been coming to the store since before I even worked for it.
It's true. It's very true.
For those of you who are unfamiliar with this series, it's called Turning the Page, where we discuss the big topics of the week, also just things that interest us that we think would be interesting to talk about just for a couple minutes. Each topic, the first three last 2 minutes, the fourth one lasts 5 minutes, and then we do quick takes of a minute each on a topic that's kind of overarching but different components of it. So we're going to launch into the first one. One of the complaints about DC is its inability to attract the same size of readership as Marvel, or even for the movies, the same sort of moviegoers. One of those complaints is that the characters for DC are outdated, and that's why they don't connect as well with viewers or readers. Do you believe that to be the case?
That has been stated time and time again for years, and I hate hearing that, because there are numerous books or runs that don't fall into that category, in my opinion. And this, back in the 70s, if you take the classic Green Arrow, Green Lantern series, when they tackled the drug issues, it was relatable in the same way that Marvel did with their thing. So they always have always have glimpses, but they don't keep it on track all the time.
Well, I think that's one of the things, is these characters are very malleable. They can change over time. Like, even the Superman you read today is not the same Superman you read in 1938.
Oh, absolutely.
He has obviously evolved. Batman has changed a lot from the character he was in the late 30s to now. But more importantly than that, if you look at the sales of different books, JLA has been a top seller. It's like you, I don't like that statement. I don't think it's true.
I don't either. It's not the characters. It's the company, the creators, the directions that they try to take, recreating themselves 14 times. It's like McDonald's and Burger King. Burger King's always chasing McDonald's, and that's kind of what it is. It's like there's a formula right in front of you. Just kind of do the same things. It's not like you've never had the talent to be able to do it.
I think
who
also
screws it up, John? What editor screws it up? Well,
I was going to say that I think that also a lot of the creators that are drawn to DC are more nostalgic driven than Marvel's creators. I think Marvel's creators love to create new things, whereas DC's creators want to pay homage to the stuff that was in the past. Mark Waid was a big one. He always liked. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but we will turn the page on that one. Maybe we'll revisit that one, because I think we both had a lot more to say.
Yeah. There's a lot. You get a lot of examples and stuff. But anyways.
Okay.
Next.
So let's move on to topic number 2. I know this is one of our customers, Jake out there. His favorite creator, Donny Cates, is getting ready to close his run on Venom.
Which we talked a little bit about last
we did. So we're going to follow that up. So what character would you like him to tackle next? Which book would you like him to go on?
There's a lot of ones that I feel like almost anything I'd like to see him try. But keeping with what it seems like he likes to do, it would be great to have him tackle Moon Knight. And the reason I say that is, if you've read a lot of Cates' other stuff, he likes to play in that realm of gods and things like that.
And build their backstories.
Their backstories and things like that. And if you don't know about Mark Spector with the multiple personalities and things like that, is he crazy? He's not crazy, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like it's a character that he
poised for breakout.
Almost hits superstardom. He gets somebody good, and then
poised for breakout.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give my dream answer, and I'm going to give the answer as to what I think he would be good at. My dream answer would be for him to go back to Doctor Strange, because his run on that was very, very good, but it was very, very short also. I don't think he will. I think that he's done with what he wanted to say on that character. The one that I think that he'll move on to, or that he should move on to, is a character probably like Blade. I think he could do a lot with Blade. And I had a when I went along with, well, not went along with it, but my backup, which would be Namor, because they really want Namor to break out. And I feel like his backstory in Atlantis.
I say no to that because I don't like Namor.
But clearly, Marvel wants to do something.
To go along with your Doctor Strange one, the other thing that I would have liked to see him do if he wants to take on a group, because literally just like a week ago I read Guardians of the Galaxy, the whole run all at the same time. Loved it, thought he did great, but it was really a carryover of the stuff that he was doing.
Silver Surfer Black.
Silver, Thanos, and things like that would be the Defenders. Because then he could play with Doctor Strange again and bring in, because there's been a lot of different ones over time, and he could bring in whatever he wanted to the group and play with a... And I'd like to see longer than a 12-issue run. I think it'd be cool.
And Moon Knight was actually one that I thought would be...
I think that's his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I think so as well. So moving on to topic 3, DC announced 11 new titles. Deathstroke Incorporated, Harley Quinn animated series sequel, Wonder Woman 80th anniversary series, Elseworld, DC Vampires, Robin and Batman, Joker a Puzzle Box, Legend of Batman, Crush and Lobo, Nubia and the Amazons, and DC Middle Ages. Which one, obviously from its title alone, because they haven't announced any details about each one, sounds most promising to you?
At first glance, none of them.
None of them?
I honestly, I just not. I kind of looked at it and went, so what? I mean, honestly.
So the titles alone weren't enough for you?
Now, if I have to pick, I would probably be a little interested in the Harley one, because if you haven't watched the animated series, it actually was really good. I started it, and let me just clarify that if you got kids, that is not for kids at all. Zero, none. It is raw, but it's funny. So if they bring that into like Black Label or something, that might work. And only because I really don't know too much about them, I would probably be a little interested in reading Crush and Lobo.
Gotcha. So I had a couple that I thought were interesting from the title alone. Joker, a Puzzle Box, I think has potential. It sounds like it's going to be...
It's not new, though. I read a freaking Joker book all the time.
The puzzle box part is more the part that sounds interesting to me.
Joker solves a Rubik's Cube? What the heck?
Well, I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be more of a mystery type thing, and maybe he teams up with like Riddler or something like that.
Okay.
So I'm interested in that one. DC Vampires, I'm interested in, but I also think it has the potential to be kind of like Deceased, just with vampires instead of zombies. If I had to guess, I'm going to assume it's going to happen in the Red Rain universe. That's just a guess on my part, obviously, because these are just titles. The one I am most interested in is the Elseworld one, because it gives creators such a wide berth of like opportunities to do things with characters. That's how we got Superman Red Sun. That's how we got Batman Red Rain. A lot of Justice League, The Nail, great book. I'm pretty sure you read it.
Might be sitting in the to-read pile.
Gotcha.
Who knows?
So I think some of these have potential to really be... well, we'll see. Like I said, we're going off of just titles here, so...
I know. I mean, and once creative teams are announced too, that's going to swing people.
Yeah. Obviously, this is more like guessing on our part at this point, just for the titles. All right, so our large topic for this week, the 5-minute discussion. Over the last decade, the number of variant covers have grown. DC always puts out a B cover for their titles, sometimes a C cover. They started doing some ratios. Marvel puts out a lot of covers for almost all of their titles, normally like 2 or 3 covers, and then a ratio involved in there somewhere as well. What are your thoughts on this phenomenon of growing numbers of variants?
Well, I think your question was, what do I like? How does it affect the industry, right? Yeah. So, I mean, from a personal standpoint, I feel like it gets compared a lot to the early '90s and stuff when
with the gimmick covers and
things like that. I think it's a little bit different this time around because I really think we're getting some outstanding art. Not too sure how I feel about the Chase covers because that kind of puts shops like yours in an awkward situation, especially when they start doing weird ratios where it's like a small shop like you might not be able to or want to buy that many copies.
So to your point, Berserker is getting ready to do a 1 in 1,000 variant. And one of the incentives that they're giving on that one is that shops can return it, which I think is ridiculous. I don't know who's eating that money, but I will be honest with you. I was tempted to not order the book at all because there's going to be so many copies of that book floating out there that I did not go anywhere near 1,000.
I don't see what the appeal of that is. It's not like I don't like Keanu Reeves, but I mean, I don't see the hype, honestly. But I mean, back to the variants in general. Like, I like the way DC does it. I like having the choice of two covers, and if it's really outstanding minimal one, it's kind of worth the extra whatever it is, $0.50, $1, whatever, to get it. In my opinion, I've enjoyed seeing a lot of that. Now, is it hurting? I don't know. I think Marvel is kind of doing what they did in the 90s with the 25 different covers on the issue 1 and all that kind of stuff.
Even beyond the issue number 1, like I said, they're doing like 3 or 4 covers.
I know.
I've cut back on the number that I've ordered because I'm like, you know what, just storage and things like that are making it harder. The amount of shelf space that it takes up when they have that many covers also. Like, right. you want to spread them out so people can see them, and it just makes it more difficult. Obviously, I think it's great that customers have options. I mean, that's always good.
But a lot of it's spec-driven, too. It's not just, like, because, oh my gosh, this one's rare, I need to buy it. Well, this one's rare, I need to get that one.
Well, I know that you are different than me, that you like going to the different online shops and doing the exclusive covers also. Obviously, it's just for ones that you like the cover of. You don't just go buy indiscriminately. And but even that, I feel like it's less impactful on the industry overall because some of the more casual collectors aren't even aware of some of those covers.
That's not a bad thing, in my opinion, because like that, in my opinion, that can actually help a shop like yours or theirs or whatever. They advertise a big name artist, they put it on the cover, and they have, they don't take a big chance. They order 500 copies, they sell out. It's like awesome. They get a big secondary market following on that, and they're like, where did you get that? Where do you get that? Oh, well, I got it over here. Okay, I'm gonna go sign up for their email so that I always know when they're doing exclusive, so perhaps I might want another cover of theirs. So, I will say, that side of it, I think it's not a bad idea.
I will say Patrick Gleason kind of ticked me off because he did his web cover exclusive for, I think it was Venom. The Venom one was his exclusive to his website. Like the
only place you could get it was his. Okay. Yeah.
And I felt like they were already doing the Carnage and the Spider-Man one through Marvel. I felt like I have no problem with him doing the Virgin one through his website, but I feel like it's kind of cheating some of the comic collectors by doing one exclusively through his website. It's his prerogative. And
I mean, he's not the first one to do it, so I guess I don't have that big of a problem with it. But based on the way that you're like, because it was, here's a web thing, here's a web thing, here's a web thing. People were probably interested in getting it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, how come I don't have that one? Well, that's because it's only on his website, and you missed out. Sorry, go buy it on eBay.
Yeah, and I think it sold out in like 5 minutes or something on his website. Yeah. 10 minutes. It was crazy because people do like that series of covers. Yeah. I think the Venom one's probably the weakest one of them.
100% agree. The Spider-Man, where even in the different colors, the Spider-Man one looks really cool, but I was mad on the Venom one too.
Yeah, but
it didn't go with it. I mean, Spider-Man's the webs, not Venom.
Yeah,
it's the blobby stuff.
There's some influencers out there who are pushing for them to do like Miles Morales ones and Spider-Gwen ones, and I'm like, you don't want to run it into the ground, or I don't think it's going to be as special.
Well, that's 90s stuff.
It's
not lying.
So we will turn the page on that topic. We may come back to variants sometime in the future again, because there's a lot, I think, to be said about that topic. So this week, actually, I think just yesterday, maybe the day before yesterday, Todd McFarlane announced that he wants to grow a comic book universe on par with Marvel's or DC's. He said he wants to become the same sort of global phenomenon. I'll just ask quickly, like, how do you feel about that before we go into the quick take one?
He just laughed because we already talked about it. Actually, when I didn't hear about it until you guys said something. Then I went and looked it up, and I read a little bit about it, and I was like, oh, this sounds cool. And then I read little bit more, and I was like, this sounds stupid. It's just all characters that were already, in my opinion, already in Spawn books. It's not like my idea of a new universe would have been like, here's a whole new character, and we're gonna and
expand upon
upon that type of thing. Now, that being said, I probably haven't read Spawn since maybe issue 20 or something. I mean, I read for a while when it first came out. Really, really liked the character. Probably get roasted for this. Even enjoyed the first movie, but
I don't have a problem with what he's doing, but I think it's not going to reach his goal if his goal is to become a global phenomenon, sort of thing. Like I think just saying in the same.
But why?
Because you're just repeating, like you were saying, you're repeating the same idea with just different.
Well, that doesn't mean it's going to stay like that. I just don't like the initial thing. Is like, is your plan to take your established characters because you'll know they'll sell, and then bring in the other ones to see what sells?
Yeah,
that's not a bad idea if he's going to
do
that. But if he just wants like, hey, look at my Spawn characters, I'm like, it's just not new.
He has characters that he could go outward with already, like Sam and Twitch. I feel like a good crime book would be. I mean, Bendis wrote that in the early 2000s. I thought that was a pretty good series. It didn't last all that long, but let's talk about he's bringing some big name talent with him for this initiative also. How impactful do you think each one of these creators will be on that? We're going to go over 5 different ones. We're going to give a minute to each one. The first one is Donny Cates.
You can talk about them individually. I'm going to talk about them because there's more than that. And
they're a lot more.
They were a little more than that. First of all, I don't know at this point, basically, because who knows how much time they're going to dedicate to this new universe. So that's a big deal, in my opinion. So I really don't even can't even talk to it, in my opinion, because I don't get it yet.
So Donny Cates, I think, is going to be mildly impactful. And the reason I say mildly is I think he's going to attract a lot of readership at first. But I think he also, for lack of a better word, I think he gets bored with the things and he moves on, which isn't a bad thing. You don't want to stay on something so long that becomes like repetitive or what have you. But I think he will definitely attract readership at first, which is what McFarlane definitely wants with this initiative. I can see it easily moving into like the top 20 books sold that month or on the book that he comes in on. Next up, Greg Capullo. Nothing.
Nope. I mean, the only other one I'll comment that you have on there is I really like David Finch's art. I know you're not to him yet, but I don't have really anything to say until I see more because I don't. You're guessing that how much they're going to participate.
I think most of these are going to be cover artists. I don't think they're going to do a lot of...
Exactly, who cares?
Yeah, I think that just because, like, Greg Capullo, it seems like he's already announced that he's going to do something with Scott Snyder again, that they're going to do something here soon. Jim Chung, I think... He might do interiors. I don't think he's anywhere right now, at least not that I can remember. But I also feel like he was more of a draw 10 years ago, 15 years ago than what he is now. Not that his pencils are bad, but it seems like the industry moves very quickly to the next person. Like, oh, we've seen your art already. Like, which is a shame because his Young Avengers run was really good. His cross-gen stuff was really good. He's just a really good artist. And all right, we'll get to the one that you want to talk. That you said you have some comments on, David.
No, I mean, my point is, I just really like his stuff a lot. I mean, it's only my second episode, but if you can't tell, I like the more realistic, detailed things. That's not to say I don't like other stuff. That's just usually what I gravitate to. I mean, the artist back when I first started collecting that I liked the most was Perez. Highly noted for teams and detail and things like that.
Lots of characters. Right. I hope David Finch gets reinvigorated. I feel like some of his stuff has gotten sloppy over the last couple of years, which is a shame because he's worked on Batman.
Right. Wonder Woman covers at least. I think he did the interior too.
His stuff in the early 2000s I thought was amazing, like how much. But like I said, when he started working for DC, I don't know whether he just wasn't interested in it. He was doing it more for the paycheck, or it just seemed like his stuff wasn't as detailed and nuanced as it used to be. But and the last one, Mark Silvestri, you and I talked about this before we started filming. His pencil work is amazing, but I don't think he's done anything regularly in probably 12 years, 13 years.
Grant, you said the last thing was X-Men?
I think it was the last story arc for X-Men with Grant Morrison, the last arc of that. I can't recall anything after that. I might be wrong, but his work is amazing. I don't know whether he's been keeping up with drawing like on the side or not. Like, I mean, he has a company to run, so it's possible that he has not picked up a pencil much. I know Jim Lee doesn't pick up a pencil very much, except when he does
it's charity work.
Or covers for DC or an issue here or there, but it's not like anything.
Must be nice when you get to the point where you can just be like, hey, I'll draw a commission and get $1,000 for it.
Yeah.
It's not a bad gig.
Good gig if you can get it.
Yeah.
So, since you didn't want to talk particularly, did you have anything overall you wanted to state on?
I mean, just what I said. I mean, I really honestly don't have a real good feel for anything, and kind of like you said, you can spit all those names out to attract interest, but if they're just going to be cover artists, who cares? I mean, I didn't think about it until you just said it, but if it pulls people out that haven't been working in a little bit, and maybe their attitude is like, well, I don't need any of the big books anymore, I'd like to go play in this universe because I haven't really played in it, and it attracts some quality talent and they stick around for a little bit, well, maybe we're onto something. But again, we don't know yet. So
McFarlane did try something like this like 20 years ago. Curse of the Spawn, Spawn in the Dark Ages, Sandwich Witch. I want to say there was a fourth one. Hellspawn. So we'll see whether it sticks around this time, whether he can grow it outward. Kind of like you said, I wish that he would have moved beyond just the Spawn type.
Yeah, that's when you said when I heard Spawn Universe, I was just like, oh, he's gonna let people create brand new characters, not everything taking off of But again, I like a lot of the characters were much after. What's her face, Angelica or whatever. Angela was probably the only new character.
And now she's owned by Marvel.
So, whatever.
Well, thank you. We'll stop there for today, guys and gals. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, we will have a next one up every Friday. That's our goal for having them up on YouTube. Thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed it.
And remember, from math class, we'll leave it at that.